Welcome to this very special edition of the Author's Voice with KAJ, a show where we explore the stories behind the stories. Here we dive into the worlds created by authors, discover their inspirations, and ensure that you walk away enriched and inspired. And today we have with us author Victor Dedaj. He is a certified naturopathic practitioner, holistic health coach, and a health, wellness, and nutrition expert. And so today we'll be talking about his book, How to Be Happy, Healthy, and Whole. So let's dive into the story behind the story. Welcome to the show, Victor.
Thanks, AJ. It's great to be back.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show once again, Victor. This time on the Author's Voice with KJ. And so we will be talking about your book that we just said about how to be happy, healthy, and whole. But before that, before we come to the book itself, let's understand about your writing journey itself. What inspired you to get into writing? You have not written just this book, several other books. So I want to understand what inspired you to get into writing and especially getting to write this particular book.
Well, I believe just about every person has a book in them, and a lot of people, for some reason, maybe they're afraid no one will read their book, but you have a message to get out. You should share it with the world. And I've written a couple of books. I've also co-authored a couple other books, and I believe that the information I can get out can help people. So I wrote a book on success a number of years ago called "You Can Become Successful," and I shared tips there in that book about how to become successful. And I believe that you apply the things I write about in that book, it will help you become more successful. And then eventually I wrote How to Be Happy, Healthy, and Whole. And really it's a book, basically, if you apply the things that I have in there, it'll teach you how to be happy, healthy, and whole. So, living a better lifestyle, better nutrition, eating better quality food, supplementing, exercise, sleep, stuff like that. You apply those things, your health will be better, you'll be happy. And I talk about the things that you need to be happier. And when you're happier and you're healthy, you will be whole. Because I'm a holistic health coach, so I look at the entire person. The physical, the psychological, emotional, spiritual, all those things work together. So I believe if you look at all those things, you have them working together, you'll be whole.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now let's get straight to the book itself. And here we have it with us, Victor. Here we can see the book. Tell us a bit about this book, especially. You have a good practice. You do your work also. How did you get down to taking out time and writing this book? Give us a bit of a background of this book itself. Why did you write it? What is it that you wanted it to achieve for you?
Well, I've learned over the course of many years there's a lot of bad health information out there. I think there are a lot of people that want to be healthier, they want to live better lives, but they've been given a lot of bad misinformation. And because they've been applying that misinformation, their health is suffering as a result. So that's one of the reasons why I wrote this book. I want to get that information out that if they applied, they could become healthier. So, and I just wanted to make it in a way that I give them a lot of information, but it's also easy to read, easy to follow. So I didn't want to make it that you have to have 3 PhDs to understand. It's very easy to follow, very easy to go through, very easy to understand, but you get a lot of information. So I really wanted to get it out so that people can be have healthy lives. I see people all around me struggling, family, friends, people I really care about, and a lot of people I deal with, they're struggling with their health. And one of my great passion is to help people get healthier. And so that's one of the reasons why I wrote that book. And it took me about a year to write it. And I did a lot of research for the book, not just the things I've learned, in the work I do, but I read a lot of other books on health and wellness and nutrition. I watched a lot of trainings, a lot of videos. So I tried to learn as much as possible so I can share as much as possible with people so I can help them.
Absolutely, absolutely, Victor. So now let's see what's within the book. What is it? Anyone who watches this particular episode of yours and sees this particular thing, sees the book cover, and they will think, I want to this looks to be very good, very helpful for me, but I don't know what is within the book. More they will come to know, but at least enough for them to understand what is within the book.
Well, I started by talking about why we've gotten to this point, why so many people are struggling with their health, and especially in the Western world, but really pretty much most of the world right now, the diets have changed. There's a lot of ultra processed foods being eaten, so rates of cardiovascular disease have gone up, rates of cancer have gone up, Alzheimer's disease, diabetes, obesity. They're skyrocketing all over the world, and one of the reasons is we're eating really bad quality foods that are devoid of nutrients and have a lot of junk and poisons in there. A lot of people also very nutrient deficient. They're not getting the vitamins and minerals that they need. And I would say the vast majority of the people in the world are nutrient deficient, and that's causing health problems. And I talk about that as well. I talk about the fact that we need to get these nutrients. Too many people are way overly medicated. Now, sometimes you need to take medication, but if you're on a lot of what they do is they have a lot of bad side effects. They drain you of a lot of nutrients, and the more of them you tend to be on, the worse your health tends to get. And very often, they mask symptoms. They do not address the root cause of your health issues. And so that's why people on a lot of medications generally don't get better. Very often, in the long run, they get worse. So I've never met a person who says, I'm on 10 medications a day and I feel great. It just doesn't happen. So, and I talk about a lot of various health myths as well that people have been buying into. I'll just give you one example. People have been told for many decades that they should eat a high carb, low fat diet, which is in many ways also a high seed oil diet, because they were told by government agencies in the United States and in other countries that it was healthy to follow. And this is absolutely false. This has led to this wreaked havoc on the health of millions and millions of people across the world. And it's one of the reasons why the rates of disease of some of the diseases I mentioned earlier skyrocket because of this diet, which is extremely unhealthy. Now, in the United States, there's a new fifth food pyramid that came out by Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr., and he recommends eating more proteins, more good fats, and eating less carbs, which I 100% agree with. And this should have been done many decades ago. So there are many other health myths I address as well. So, and if people realize some of the things that cause the problems to now, they realize they got to change some of the things that they've been told to do. And I share also a lot of the various vitamins and minerals that are very important for your health, as well as various other supplements, like some herbal supplements, which are not necessary for your body, but they can help as well. But it's not like you can't have good health without, but they can also help as well. So I share a lot of those things. I try to give as much information as possible so that people can utilize it so they can become healthier.
Absolutely, absolutely, Victor. So if somebody says, Victor, I want to make that change, I want to get started, and will your book help me get started? How should they understand this part that you want to answer them?
If they apply the things I teach in the book, they will get results. The main things I'll tell you here, and I'll talk about in the book. You got to change the kind of foods you eat. You got to get away from the junk food, ultra processed foods that have lots of harmful ingredients and that are pretty much devoid of nutrients, have very few nutrients in it. You got to supplement because even if you eat a very good diet with good quality food, the soils don't have the nutrients they had, say, 100 years ago. So even if you eat good quality food, you just won't get all the nutrients in it. So you need to supplement. You need to exercise. Exercise is extremely important. There's a lot of health benefits to exercise. You need to get plenty of sleep. And many people today are not getting enough sleep. In the United States, where I live, 30% of the people get less than 6 hours of sleep on the average. That's not good. If you're sleep deprived, you won't function as well. Your brain won't work as well. You're going to make many more mistakes. You're more prone to getting sick, more prone to getting illnesses and infections, and you're more likely to die younger. So there's a lot of bad things that can happen if you're not getting enough sleep. So I talk about the fact you need to get plenty of sleep. And you need to limit the stress. In this day and age, many people out there are stressed out, and that can wreak havoc on your immune system. And it can make you more prone to infections and various diseases. Your blood pressure can go up. So I talked about the fact you need to limit the stress. You need to relax more, rest more, spend more time in nature, do some gratitude, prayer, you know, uh, spend time with friends, have a good social circle. So those kind of things will help you feel better, relax more, and it will limit the stress. And you limit the stress, your immune system will function better. So if you apply the things I talk about, and of course, I'm just giving you a summary of all these things. I go into much more detail in the book. You follow the things I tell you, you will get results. It's not going to happen overnight. So if you've been living a really bad lifestyle for 25, 30 years, don't expect to become healthy in 7 days. It's going to take some time. When I work with people, I tell them, you got to give the things I'm having you purchase, like various products, vitamins and minerals. You got to give the program 90 days at least. If you're only going to give it a couple of weeks, I won't work with you. You got to give it at least 90 days because it's going to take some time to see the results. A lot of people have this instant gratification. They want everything to happen yesterday. They want a magic pill that will solve their problems. It's not going to work. If you're 150 pounds overweight, which is, I don't know, about 70 kilos or something like that, you're not going to lose that weight in a week. It took you a long time to put on that weight. You want to lose that weight? It's going to take you some time to take it off. So you got to give everything time. Everything compounds either for you or against you. So if you want to get results, you got to give it time. Do the things I tell you, but don't expect results to happen overnight. It's not going to happen.
Absolutely. Let's understand. You mentioned about chronic illness also in this particular title. Tell us a bit about your emphasis on chronic illnesses as well as the food that we eat, and much more.
Yeah, so one of the major causes of a lot of chronic illnesses is the foods we eat. And we eat a lot of junk food, and it's much worse than it was, say, 30, 40 years ago. There's a lot more sugar, a lot more seed oils. There's a lot of ingredients you can't even pronounce. And if you can't pronounce the ingredients, you probably shouldn't be eating them. Ingredients with like, 8 or 9 syllables, mani, sanu, trioxy, stuff like that. You can't even pronounce them. A lot of red colored dyes, which thankfully they're starting to take out. They've taken out a lot of countries. And now the U.S. finally is caught up. They're going to be taking out these colored dyes by the end, I think, of 2027. They also cause health issues. So because of this, um, in the United States and many other countries, kids are getting diabetes as teenagers, sometimes even 10 years old. That didn't happen 40 years ago. Type 2 diabetes used to be called adult onset diabetes because you usually got it in your 40s and 50s. But now young kids are getting it. And that didn't happen many years ago. Fatty liver disease used to only happen primarily to alcoholics. But now, because of the high sugar seed oil dyes and ultra processed food dyes, it's happening to many other people. So now you have something called non alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is uh, happening to a lot of people now. It only used to happen to alcoholics, but you eat a lot of fructose, it can overwhelm the liver because fructose and alcohol have a similar effect on the liver. The fructose can only be metabolized by the liver, unlike glucose, which could be metabolized by a number of different organs. So we have way too much fructose in our diets. In fact, what another health myth people are not aware of is that fruit juice is healthy. It is not healthy because you eat the fruit, like say an apple or a pear, there's going to be fructose in it. But the digestion of fructose is slowed down by the fact you have the fiber in the fruit. You do not have any fiber in fruit juice, so that it's liquid form, so it's quickly is absorbed into your body, that fructose, because there's no fiber to slow it down, and the fructose levels quickly go. The fructose go up really quickly. So do not drink fruit juice. And if you have children, please don't give them fruit juice. It is not healthy. It's almost as bad as drinking soda. And that's one of the reasons. So it's these eating these horrible foods, drinking soda, drinking fruit juice, nutrient deficiencies. They're causing a lot of health problems as well. If you're deficient in the mineral calcium, which is one of with magnesium, those are the two most important minerals. A deficiency of calcium can expose you to 150 different diseases. So doing all these things, again, the stress, the lack of sleep, the lack of exercise, all those things lead to all these chronic conditions. And you look at obesity right now, most of the world, the obesity rates are skyrocket. Now in the United States, they'll show pictures of people on the beach or at rock concerts in the 1960s or 1970s. You look at those photos, almost everyone is not obese. No, almost no one is overweight. You look at a picture of a concert today in the 2026, or you look at pictures of people at the beach, you're going to see a lot of obese people because of the changes that have happened, because of the ultra processed foods and all these other things. There's a huge obesity epidemic, and obesity can lead to a lot of diseases. If you're obese when you're young, you can become more susceptible to disease like heart disease and cancer as you get older. And anytime you're obese, the longer you're obese, the more you're susceptible to a lot of different diseases. In fact, during the COVID pandemic, some of the people that were the most vulnerable were the obese people in terms of recurring. Many obese people died during COVID.
Absolutely. What was the most challenging part uh, while writing this book?
I wanted to keep writing more and more. It's like, but there's so much information out there. And I just said, if I didn't get it out eventually, I could have probably spent another year or two writing because I just wanted to share more and more information out there. Because there's so much information out there. So probably down the road, I'm going to write another book on health and wellness and nutrition. But I arrived at a certain point. I said, if I do that, I will never get this book out, and the people who need this information will not get that information. So I said, I came to a point where I said, I need to finish this book, get the information out, and then I can do other things like get on podcasts like this show and share that information. I can do my own episodes and share it with people. So there are other things I can do in the meantime to get the information out that maybe was not in the book because there's a lot more information. I'm not going to tell you that every single thing that you need to be healthy is in that book. It's not. There's a lot more information out there, but there's a lot of great information in that book that can help you live a better life. I just had to say, I had to stop there and just get the information out because um, you could spend 5 years writing a book because there's so much great information out that can help you. But I said, I need to get it out now.
Absolutely, Victor. Absolutely. Information is indeed so much out there, and especially on this topic. So, who is this book for, Victor?
It's for people who desire to live a healthier life. They want to be happier and more whole. There are a lot of people. It doesn't matter if you're a teenager, in your 30s, 50s, 60s. Maybe you're dealing with some chronic illnesses, and maybe going to your allopathic doctor is not helping because maybe he's just giving you some medications that are only masking the symptoms, but not taking care of the underlying root causes. So it's for those kind of people. Maybe you want to lose some weight, you know, or maybe you're living an okay, healthy life, but you know you can do more with your health, and maybe you want to learn some other things as to how you can make your health even better. So it's pretty much for anyone who wants to learn more about health. Anyone can do it, beginner, intermediate, or expert. I think any of those people can benefit from this book.
Absolutely, Victor. So, in a nutshell, what key message, insight do you want readers of this book to take away with them?
You have to take 100% responsibility for your health. You have to take control of your health. You got to be your number one advocate. Don't let people who make money off of you when you get sick control your health because you're going to regret that for the rest of your life. You have to be your number one advocate for yourself. That's the message I would like to leave people for today. Take control of your health.
Absolutely, take control of your health. So, Victor, now the future. This book, you've got other books also. Any other thing in the pipeline that you want the world to know about?
Like I said, I'm here to help people, and I'm going to keep spreading the message. On these shows, maybe doing some of my own episodes. I'm here to help people. So if you need help, you can always reach out to me. I give a free health evaluation. You can just go to the link, yourfreehealthevaluation.com. So if you're curious as to where you stand with your health, you can just fill it out and we can go over it together. Um, No strings attached. You don't have to buy anything. But if you just want to go over it, I'll be more than glad to go over it with you because I want people to know where their health stands. A lot of people think they're healthier than they actually are. And then when they go over this health evaluation, they realize, man, there are more issues than they were aware of. A lot of people are not aware there's a lot of underlying causes that they're not aware of that are causing some health issues. So their health very often is worse than they're aware of. A lot of people, maybe they're in a little bit of denial, but I go over and they're surprised at some else. They didn't realize they have digestion issues. A lot of people, a huge number of people have blood sugar issues, and they're not even aware of it. Some people have hard tissue issues. Hard tissue would be like the bones and the teeth, as well as soft tissue, which would be like the eyes and the various organs in your body. So some people are surprised as to how many health issues they really have, and that's why we have a very um, very accurate health evaluation, that they fill out, and then we go over it with them.
Absolutely, Victor. So, what's the best way for people to get hold of this book? And also, what's the best way for them to connect with you, get your help if needed?
Sure. Well, I gave you the website for the health evaluation, yourfreehealthevaluation.com. My book, How to Be Happy, Healthy, and Whole, it's in various different formats, but it's on Kindle, so it's available in probably in most countries in the world. In the United States, it's only $1. I want to make it as affordable as possible so people can get that information and not say, I don't have the money to afford this. So I made it as affordable as possible on Kindle. They can go to my website, victordedaj.com. Dedaj is spelled Dedaj. I also have another website called valuewithvictor.com. And they can also email me at victordedaj@victordedaj.com. And they can also reach out to me on Facebook or LinkedIn. Just look up Victor Dedaj.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of The Author's Voice with KAJ. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.